Rotational speed and linear speed multipliers allow you to specify different speed settings for individual machine components. We'll take a close look at how Ascent collects and applies RPMs first, then we'll explore the options for working with linear speed. The Ascent program gives you several options for determining and setting an initial RPM value, and then further options for multiplying and applying it to different parts of a machine. During data collection, you can use a tachometer to read the RPM directly, or, if a machine has an RPM display, you can prompt the user to enter this value via the keypad by selecting the Ask for RPM option. These options are set in the schedule entry. Once a recording has been transferred to the Ascent software, you can collect the initial RPM from a chart's 1x peak by double-clicking the peak and pressing Ctrl+1. Or you can right-click a machine and select Set RPM. You can also choose a recording and right-click to select the Set 1x RPM or Set RPM options. Set 1x collects the value directly from the chart, while Set RPM lets you enter your own value. Once a rotational speed has been specified, you can apply the same RPM value across an entire machine, or you can multiply the RPM value at selected points to differentiate between individual component running speeds. These settings here control where the RPM value will be applied, and includes the ability to apply the value to recordings within a specific date range. You can also prevent existing RPM values from being overwritten, which is useful for separating out historical recordings where a machine was operating at a different speed. At the top of the screen is the RPM multiplier option. Select this option to use the RPM multiplier defined at each machine point. To define an RPM multiplier, you must set this at the machine points where you want to specify a different rotational value for an individual component. You do this by editing the point. Right-click a point and select Edit. Set the RPM multiplier to indicate the speed of the shaft at this point compared to the main machine speed. Now, when an RPM value is applied to recordings taken at this point, the rotational speed will be multiplied by the value you enter here. That concludes our exploration of the RPM options, so now we'll turn our attention to linear speed. Linear speed settings are specifically used for paper machines and similar, where all rotating components have speeds directly related to the linear speed of the paper through the machine. Right-click a recording or schedule entry and select Set Linear Speed. To make your job simpler, the Linear Speed editor has the same set of options as the Set RPM editor. You can enter a linear speed here. Select the units you want to use. Then apply your linear speed across the whole machine, or apply it to selected recordings by ticking the options and specifying a date range, etc. To do this, right-click a point and select Edit. Enter the diameter of the roller or pulley at this point. The software will calculate the linear speed for this point by comparing the ratio of the motor RPM here to the roller or pulley RPM. When you select the option to apply the RPM multiplier defined at each point, your RPM and linear speed settings are individually adjusted and applied across the machine.